Good morning and welcome to Veterans Heartbeat on the Pulse of the Veteran, where we discuss issues of health, happiness, opportunity, and well-being of interest to the veteran community, their families, and the community who honors them.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Veterans Heartbeat, brought to you by River, the Rural Institute for Veterans Education and Research. My name is Jason Zencraft. My co-host Ed Lisofsky is here with me, and he is the Executive Director of River. We welcome you to a weekly wide-ranging discussion of issues, events, opportunities, and needs in our veteran community. Morning, Ed. How you doing?
Morning, Jason.
We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Farside Signs. They create amazing-looking vehicle graphics that will drive traffic to your business. They are located at 1526 South Avenue West in Missoula. Follow them on the web, Instagram, and Facebook, or just stop on by.
Well, good morning. This morning we have Dr. Ibsen. We have Connor from our staff. And we have David Barsotti and Kevin Martin in the studio. You know, the topic that we wanted to hit today, we've talked to the experts. We've got a couple vets. One, a sad sack from the Marines.
Hey.
And then another sad sack from the Army. We joke around here a little bit, but I know that they've had some experiences with chronic pain, and I know that they've had some experiences with the VA and how it gets treated. Now, at the end of this episode, we're going to give out the congressional field offices numbers, and I really would appreciate if the listening audience would call in and let the congressional staffers know that we got to do better for our vets. It's really time. Good morning, David. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
So, which one of you wants to go first? Is it A before M?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go with me first. My name is David Barsotti, and I have the unfortunate responsibility to deal with the VA on a daily basis. And I have in front of me two legal pads that are just from this month. Well, I guess it goes back to last month, but I keep track of every phone call I've ever made to the VA reference healthcare. I had 13 service-related surgeries, and I've got another 4 ahead of me. And I've been labeled as urgent care by my outside doctor, who I was going through choice program. But the choice program, as we finally figured out how to navigate it, is now gone. And the VA is trying to take over most of the majority of the work. So it's gotten really frustrating for us vets because we call and we're on hold, for 2-3 hours at a time before anybody even picks up. And by the time they pick up, it's at a wrong facility. So they pick up and they're in Helena when you called the Missoula number. And so you don't get a hold of the right people hardly ever. So when we're having to learn how to deal with the choice program, and then they did away with most of the choice, and now they have the VA doing all the scheduling, the VA most of the time won't answer the phone, and you are put on hold for up to 3 hours. And you just have to listen to their horrible music, but at least now they don't ask you if you're having thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Please dial this number every 2 minutes. So it's one of those things where getting a hold of somebody in Helena when you need to be getting a hold of somebody in Missoula gets very frustrating. And like I said, I keep track of everybody I talk to, and right now the VA is overworked, underpaid, and we don't have qualified anybody. And I think Kevin has something to say about the physical therapy department here especially. I've had run-ins with the physical therapy because they are lazy, to say the least. And I was told that, by my surgeon, it was actually spelled out in writing from my surgeon who was down in Vail, Colorado. Great surgeon, military officer, and I got him through the choice program. He's actually one of the Olympic surgeons. And he spelled it out in writing so that I had that for the VA. And the VA then denied my claim, said, absolutely not. You have to go to our facility and receive our our people when this was, a critical physical therapy that needed to be handled by somebody he trusted. And I've used their physical therapist here in Missoula, and they are very subpar. But regardless, I had to deal with an individual over in Helena, and that individual who is one that assigns whether or not you get to do a choice program or not. And if you can't do the choice program, he's the one that actually has the signed, sealed, delivered. He's God. And when we were on the phone, I was like, well, I have all this documentation from my surgeon, and he told us that we need to do it this way, and there's no qualifications other than the people he said. Well, at the end of that, he says, well, you're not listening to me. Are you stupid? Do you have short-term memory problems? Are you a retard? And during this, halfway through the conversation, I thought it best to notify him that I was recording the conversation because I hit record when he started getting aggressive.
You're talking about the guy in
Durand,
the VA rep?
Yeah, he works for the VA. He's the one that's I think he's in charge of. It's not care and community.
Folks, I'm looking at his 2 legal pads, and I mean they are full of notes, full. But anyway, it's okay. We can keep going.
Okay.
The VA rep asked if you were stupid or retarded.
Or if I had short-term memory problems. And when you're dealing with somebody who does have a TBI, but I obviously don't have short-term memory problems because, as you can see, I keep track of everything I talk to, who I talk to, and what I'm about to discuss before I talk to them. So as far as that goes, he was just talking about the conversation that we were having because I was like, no, you don't understand. I said, I already faxed you over everything that you needed to get me through care and community, the proper treatments that I need through choice instead of through the VA. And that's when he started lighting off into me. And so there's a congressional inquiry going on, reference him. And hopefully he no longer has a job working with he has no business being anywhere near a veteran. So we'll see how that all works out.
Wow. Dr. Ibsen, do you have any comment?
Same as you. Wow.
Well, Kevin, you came into the River Clinic this week. You got some acupuncture treatment. Can you tell us the results of that?
The results of that were impressive, to say the least. Went from pain level of 7, 8 down to 4 in, minute or less. So, which is impressive because been through everything from physical therapy, chiropractor, spinal injection. List kind of goes on, and it continuously goes on every time I get a different doctor here at the VA. It's like the notes are put in, but no one cares to read. Been through 3 doctors now in the last 4.5 years, and seems like once I get a new doctor, I have to go ahead and sign again for narcotics, whatever the case may be. Just kind of go through the whole rigmarole, kind of like I'm starting in the VA system all over again, which, it doesn't, it surprises me, but it doesn't surprise me. It's just another government bureaucratic system that some things are injected into the notes, and if they are, they're not read. And, needless to say, us veterans fall flat on our face because we're ending up going through the same treatments all over again. And just seems like it's a roller coaster that never ends, and same result, no progression.
I would absolutely have to agree with that.
So this is where chronic pain. Do you have questions? Dr. Ibsen is he's kind of specialized in the last few years with chronic pain. Do you have questions for him?
Yeah, I guess I kind of do this as Kevin. I just I'm hit the point, with my last doctor, which I'm hopefully soon going to be getting another doctor. I'm kind of at a stalemate right now because my current doctor over here at the Missoula VA left and went to Oregon apparently. So hopefully time will tell if I get another doctor and who it is. But I've kind of hit the same bridge, just kind of stuck doing chiropractic care, spinal injections. I'm at my limit of those. and I keep getting told by a neurosurgeon that, hey, your back's bad, but not bad enough, and you're 30, 31, so we don't think it would be a good idea to do anything from this point, which I understand. I'm not all gung-ho about getting my back chopped into, especially, God knows, by the VA, which couldn't even manage to, well, it's a little personal, but couldn't even manage to nail down a vasectomy, let alone a back surgery. So, yeah, I don't know. It just kind of like I'm left at a stalemate every single time. And I just keep taking pills and keep carrying on. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, what's after this.
One new thing on the horizon is this medication called ketamine. And it is a anesthetic agent that they're now finding can really work with people who have some chronic pain. So we're just now looking into starting a clinic with that service. So you'd be a perfect person to look into that with. And it's sort of new on the horizon. So you could Google it, ketamine, Ketamine, and see if it's something that interests you. As we develop this program, we're finding lots of patients in your situation that have back problems, back pain, are done having procedures, and most of those procedures are not FDA approved. So it's kind of risky to do those procedures, and yet and too young for surgery, but the pain is persisting. And what do you do? Oh, well, in the past we put people on a lot of pain pills, and some people need them, and other people want to move past that too. So you want to have somebody who's going to care about what your actual process is, and not look at you as a cash cow or an inconvenience. And I can hear that in your conversation, that you've been sort of shunted to the side repeatedly, and that is a problem that I think we need to address, and I think we can address that.
Now, with that ketamine, because I've seen that before, but I'm not very familiar with it. This is David. I was wondering what the possible side effects and stuff like that are, because they constantly I'm the same with Kevin, they constantly just feed you pills at the VA, and
so ketamine is an anesthetic, and it's an injectable. So the way ketamine clinics are working, and we're kind of all just sort of creating these with some recent data that's out, is they found that there's kind of like a reset that happens if you have an injection of this anesthetic, and it's an anesthetic. It's been used for years, and in the appropriate dose, people have what's called a dissociative reaction to it. In other words, it's like having anesthesia, but there's something that happens in the brain with it, and we're not understanding it all that well, but some people are getting good results with it. So people in chronic pain, they have a couple of sessions with ketamine injections, and it might last them 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. And if you came in for a couple, 2 or 3 injections, and you were helped by it, it might make a big impact on your pain for many months. So it wouldn't be something that you're just swallowing pills every day. And there are people who need the pills, and they need pain relief. And
right.
In Montana these days, we're having trouble getting people what they need in a palliative way. So this is one alternative that we're hoping, people who are in between, like you two guys are, maybe it'll help. We think it's worth a try, and so we're developing the protocols, and we may be able to bring this to the veteran population, mid to end February.
Wow, that would be amazing. I'd really like to see that, and see some results on it. And I'll be definitely looking that up online tonight.
Yeah, just Google that and see what you think. There's a lot of pain patients that have approached me for doing it, and I've never really had the facility or the wherewithal to pull it together. So Ed's working on getting all the T's crossed and I's dotted so that we can provide that service, and then we can see if it's actually going to make a difference for people.
That'd be pretty fantastic as far as I know. I mean, because I know coming out of service, pretty common thing in general is the chronic pain and PTSD. I mean, especially given certain circumstances over in combat zones. I mean, those are two of the most common things people come out of service with. So that would be fantastic to see that ball roll.
It really would. Ed and I went to a conference in Las Vegas about a month ago talking about brain injury and its overlap with PTSD, and talking about what can happen to, a lot of people have PTSD and nobody really inquires much about how much brain injury they've had, but we were able to really distinguish that being a soldier is a series of brain injuries. Even if you're not in an explosive event and get knocked out, there's this chronic micro trauma that happens, just like football players get, and it can really affect people's attitudes and give them a heck of a case of PTSD. So we're looking also into how could we bring that kind of program to our vets here, and that's essentially Dr. Gordon in California is the pioneer of that program, and it's part of the Warrior Angels project, and he's been doing some great stuff with veterans that couldn't get any help in any other circumstance, and that would be lab work, hormonal precursor replacement, natural medicine, intravenous vitamins. We hope to be adding those kind of things too. So hopefully that'll be on the horizon as well.
Well, a lot of the technology that we're bringing in, it's just using it in a different format. Am I wrong, Dr. Ibsen?
No, I love how you ask, am I wrong? That is great. Particularly around pain, nobody's wrong. I mean, we've got to solve this pain problem and give it all the attention we've given to developing weapon systems. So nothing is wrong when we're trying to invent a way for people to get their lives back. And I'm excited about the things that we've learned in the last few months.
A lot of people address this in ways that it's, man up, suck up, and march on. The problem is we're seeing the results of that. We just took down the flags here in Missoula for the holiday season that we put up on representing the veteran suicide. 53% of all suicides in Montana for veterans are the result of chronic pain. Unbelievable.
Shocking, isn't it? It is shocking, particularly when pain's treatable. Chronic pain overlaps with PTSD as well, but ignoring chronic pain will give you PTSD. It'll worsen it. It'll trigger it, etc. So,
exactly. That's precisely right, Doctor.
So we've got to pay attention to this and listen to our vets and co-create with our veteran population a system that's actually going to work for people. And we are. I'm looking forward to creating something, because taking stuff away and then not substituting anything for it is cruel.
One of the issues that we've seen, and I know that you're into this, and I'm gonna breach this a little bit, and I know that a lot of people don't understand it, but until you basically burn yourself on a hot stove and back off, but you can't back off with chronic pain, you're still having that issue. And one of the things that you've been using is the medical marijuana. Is that correct, Dr. Ibsen?
Yeah, I've been able to help lots of vets and others with chronic pain with cannabis. I had a lot of pain patients in my practice in Helena when that was going on, and I can safely say that about 80% of my cannabis patients were able to get off opiates entirely using cannabis. And it's a great PTSD drug too, so it kind of covers two fronts. Cannabis can give us a certain amount of detachment, which is what we really need with PTSD. We just don't need to overthink things and overfocus on things.
Well, one of the issues that we come into contact with is the stereotypes and the myths. I've got two gentlemen in this studio who put their butts on the line to preserve and protect the Constitution. Essentially, that's what they did.
Yes, thank you.
And we look at something like what Jeff Sessions is like, marijuana's the boogie drug. And then we hear from the DEA that opiates are the boogeyman drug. And then we hear that this is the boogeyman drug or this is that. And it's really frustrating because these guys don't want to look at I don't see two guys here in this studio are anything but honorable gentlemen that need help. And, God grew the plant. And so it's like the antibiotics. God grew that too, and we just developed it. So it's kind of frustrating when you see these guys day in and day out coming into the clinic in River, and there is no answer for them.
Well, I think you bring up a great point. I am not critical necessarily of the conventional medical model, but it is extremely limited. We have guys blown up by IEDs and head trauma and all that sort of thing, and we are now capable of saving their lives. We stage them, we triage them, we stop the bleeding, we fly them off to Germany, put everything back together, and within a year or two, they've got a prosthetic leg, and they've been through therapy, and we cut them loose back to society. And so we're great at saving lives, but we're not so great at taking care of the life that we've saved. And I think you raise a really great point about that we really need to attend to the well-being of people who've recovered from such terrible injuries. And cannabis can do that, and so can other things. But it's a holistic approach.
Anything, Now, one interesting point that I had heard, and you can tune me in on this, but the drug registry for opiates, the VA is exempt from that?
Oh, you're going to get me started. So, yes, the VA participates in the prescription drug registry on their own. They do not give data to the state prescription drug registry. So a veteran who's on some particular medication goes to a civilian doctor. They can't look up and see what they've been using and see that they've been behaving themselves and obeying the rules. So if the VA would participate with the prescription drug registry, that would be awesome.
Okay. I promised the listeners that I would give the field numbers for Senator Daines, Congressman Giaforte, and Senator Tester. If you guys could call in and let them know that we need to take care of our vets better. David really needs it, and so does Kevin. By the way, just without going into a lot of details, David's injuries are a direct result of his service, and it's provable. What he did, we can't say.
Well, we just got to take care of our heroes. That's all.
We've got to take care of our heroes. Call in to Senator Daines at 406-549-8198. Congressman Giaforte, 406-502-1435. Senator Tester, 406-728-3003. And I do want to ask Kevin now. Kevin, you've been trying to get acupuncture. I know you can't afford it. What did they charge you for the acupuncture?
Oh, as far as River, no charge.
As always, River provides these services to our vets, our heroes, for free of charge. If you're a veteran in need, get a hold of us. 406-540-2302. Thank you.
So thank you very much for listening to Veterans Heartbeat. We'd not be able to bring it to you without all the support of the listeners. And thank you again to Farside Signs for sponsoring the show. If you do need a unique vehicle design, swing on by and check them out. Also, thank you to our main sponsor, River. River has an array of services such as veterans-focused education, a vestibular disorder clinic, and now non-pharmaceutical treatments for pain, anxiety, and depression. Check them out on Facebook or on the web at riverofchange.org. Lastly, we'd like to show our appreciation to all of our veterans. Thank you for serving our country and keeping it safe.